Seriously, racism is over, and I'm so relieved. I have lived long enough. I have been to the mountaintop. I have seen the promised land. Free at last. Free. Oh, yeah. Well, still, if you're white in America, 35% of you will get a college degree. If you're black in America, only 18% of you will get a college degree. And if you're Hispanic, only 12% of you will get a college degree. That is not equal opportunity in those numbers. There's no there. And the reason is because we don't have an end to racism. If you're a legacy, though, and you're a C student, or if you're a legacy and you're a D student, John Kerry, I believe, was a D student. I think he had a 76 average and got like 5 Ds or something like that. It's, as long as you were born as a member of the Lucky Sperm Club, you don't have to worry about college admission. But if you're, somebody who, comes from a background where there's a lack of opportunities, there's no SAT preparation. There's no college admissions process in your school just because of where you grew up. There's, a constant, crime, element around you. There's whatever, screw you. Supreme Court said, the voters can decide. So what you have here is like 80% of the American people deciding on what should happen to the other 20%. The majority is going to dictate what the minority can and cannot do. That's modern. That's moving right into the future. Carol in New York City.
Randy.
Yeah.
Honey, flee. Don't wait. Flee now. After listening to that last call, I just want you to put down the microphone and just walk away today because, oh, my God.
You see what I mean here? You see what I mean?
Let me tell you something, honey. I couldn't wait until the very end to call you because I'd start crying again like I did the last time, and I don't want to do that.
No, don't cry.
So I'm not.
No.
I'm not going to cry. Because you know why I'm not going to cry? Because seriously, Randy, the last time when I hung up the phone, I said to my husband, I think Randy's walking away. I think Randy is walking away because I think Randy has done what she came here to do. And it's time for Randy to do Randy now.
Exactly.
And let me tell you something, Randy.
Exactly. This is what I don't think anybody really gets. This day of ours starts at 7:30 in the morning every morning. Then we work. Yeah. And we work straight through. I mean, I take a break at 12 o'clock or 12:30, depending on what day it is, to get in my car, to drive here. And then I sit in this tiny little office with very beautiful, I had my friend painted them for me, lilac, very calming, very soothing.
Part of my birthstone color because
I love that color. I love purple.
And all that good stuff.
I love purple and I love orange. I know it's weird, but I like them. Not together, but
I love it.
I do. So anyway, then I sit in my office and I put my head down and I start reading everything that I selected for the show materials in the morning, right? And I start reading through it and I start putting everything together to see what is this story telling me? This is what I always tell people. Take all the news of the day and lay it side by side and see if there's connective tissue. See if there's one story being told, and almost always there is one story being told. And then, you do that until 2 o'clock. And then at 2 o'clock, you come in here, and then you come in here and you set it all up, right? And then you start to organize all these sound bites, which, I have to manage 30 pieces of sound every day, which is a separate thing from the reading. And then think of a way to, and then you got to write the blog, and then you have to have people post it for you, and all this other thing. I mean, there's so much. And then you work straight through to 6 o'clock. Then you get in the car, you drive home. Then you kiss your honey hello. You sit down, you shove some food into your face. Sometimes, you actually are in the mood to cook something. And then you eat, and then you start all over again watching the freaking news.
All over again. And Randy...
And you know something? If I really felt it was making a huge difference, if I could see the sand shifting, if I could see the Supreme Court responding, if I could see Congress responding, if I could see that 80% of the American people who want background checks, or 80% of the American people who want immigration reform, or 90% of the American people who want a raise in the minimum wage, if I could see a light at the end of the tunnel that, you know, that the American people were going to get heard, I would keep on fighting. But we're not. We're not getting heard. The money that the Supreme Court let into this election process is drowning out everybody.
It is, Randy, and, you know, over the years, you know, you've helped me through a lot of things, and, you know, I made a lot of my money from doing commercials, and I could tell the shift in commercials. I know that sounds weird to a lot of people who have not been in the business, but when the commercials started taking this shift away from, like you said yesterday, the dilute products and products for people and
dilute, really. Listen, let me tell you something. This is how you market to the American people these days. And, you know, God love them because apparently they're successful. You have to market underwear that doesn't have stank. Really? This is where we're at?
This is where we're at, and you can't even...
That and catheters.
Don't get me wrong. I am so grateful for what I've been able to do. But one of my biggest regrets about all of this is, I know this is going to sound crazy, but in some ways, like, Oprah is your Oprah, but yours has been like my mini Oprah in a lot of ways because you were the oasis for me to come to, because I used to think, is it just me? Have I lost my mind? Because I love to read. I love to be challenged. I love to think. And I used to just think, wow, what in the world is going on?
It's money. It's all money. It truly is. It really is. It's all about money. Whoever can give it can buy whatever they want. They can buy the media. They can buy the legislators. They can buy the Senate. They can buy the presidency. And, you know, unless, and all this money is for one thing only, and that is to persuade you, just like all advertising, to persuade you to vote a certain way. And if that fails, this is why it's such a racket, and this is why it's corrupt. Not only is it corrupt because it drowns out what 80% of the American people are for, but it's corrupt because if it looks like in the polling that the people are coming, and the people are showing up, and the people are against what the money wants, then the money will actually make sure that the vote is suppressed. Either the ballot will be funky, the questions will be confusing, or the little dots won't line up, or you have to show 9 forms of ID, or people in rural areas that are used to taking the bus to the polling place don't have the bus provided, or if you vote on a Sunday, they take that away from you. You know what I'm saying? They will find a way to keep the people from being heard. That's why it's unsustainable, and that's why it's corrupt. This basically is what explains all the anger in America.
Absolutely.
Really, everybody's angry. The right wing is angry.
Can I just say this?
The lunatics are angry. The smart people are angry. The intellectuals are angry. Everybody's angry. Right.
And, you know, but I have to say this to you, because on May 16th, I will silently sit here and I'll raise my glass. I never got to take you for that beer in New York, but I'll have my glass of martini, 3 olives and vodka, and and I will raise that glass to you.
That's like a meal.
Because of what you've done so much to influence where we are right now for thinking people. And
listen, I can tell you this. When I see that 85% of us agree on anything, I know that things are, you know, pretty good as far as influencing people to read and think and make decisions. However, there's no chance that people can sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Do you know what I'm saying?
No,
you have to go out there. You have to get up. You have to go out. You have to leave the microphone. You have to leave the living room. You have to leave the television. You have to leave the house. And you have to go out there because you have to help people vote. It's the only day that everybody has an enormous amount of power.
And it's my purpose right now. That's where I am. That's what I'm trying to do in terms of channeling resources into getting people registered, into getting people the IDs that they need, and all of these crazy hoops that they have to go through, and getting them to the polls on Election Day, because this, seriously, the people say this cliche, but this is seriously the most important election that we could ever. Carol,
every election is the most important election we can ever have. Every one of them. They all have consequences. All of them. But if you want to see the United States move forward and get into the 21st century, then you have to give the president a Congress that he can work with, because Congress is
the policies that this man has always been about.
Of course, and if you want a jobs package, this ain't the Congress. If you want immigration reform, this isn't your Congress. If you want the end to voter suppression, this isn't your Congress. This isn't your Senate. This isn't a Senate that will confirm a person to the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department who oversees elections, okay? The whole nation is being held hostage by a Congress. It isn't the president that's the problem. It isn't Republicans and it isn't Democrats that are the problem. The problem is oligarchy versus democracy. That is the problem. 19 after.
Randi Rhodes.
Turn up your mind. Here. Now, back to Randi Rhodes.
So, during the break, I just wanted to make sure, I was right, because Carol referred to the caller before her and how ridiculous that person really is from Dallas, Texas. I think your name was John, right? I always believed, see, this is the difference between you and me, John. You have your thoughts, I have mine, and I always believed that the reason why Major Hassan was not charged with terrorism is because he was being court-martialed, and that the U.S. military does not, in the Uniform Code of Military Justice, has a charge of terrorism, and that the prosecutors would not be able to prosecute him in a court-martial setting because if you charged him with terrorism, they would have nothing to charge him with, and actually he could have walked, and that's why it's worth. So I looked it up. See, this is the difference between you and me. We all have thoughts. But I wanted facts, not thoughts. Prosecutors did not pursue terrorism or act of terror because courts martial under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ, do not currently include such a charge. Acquiescence to the demand that Major Hassan be deemed an enemy combatant would have created far more legal confusion, making the prosecution's case more difficult to prove. That's why it was filed as workplace terrorism. There is no charge under the UCMJ. Oh, I'm sorry, you're a civilian. All these people with very strong thoughts about the military and how it conducts its business. I think maybe instead of worrying about Hassan's charge, which isn't available under the UCMJ of terrorism or act of terror, not available, and instead of worrying about that, do you give any thought to the fact that women who are raped in the military have to go through the chain of command under whom the person who raped her will also serve? And that the commander gets to decide who's more valuable, the woman who was raped or the guy who raped her? Think that's fair? So apparently there are problems with the UCMJ not including a charge of terrorism available to a prosecutor in a courts-martial. But that is just a fact. So hopefully the right wing, will stop saying, why didn't they charge him? What these opinion shows, as you say. These opinion shows on Fox News, these opinion shows on talk radio, these thousands and thousands and thousands of hours that talk about this, just refused to ever look it up. What, they weren't curious? Okay, maybe they're dolts and they have no curiosity whatsoever. But you would think that since they have a standards and practices department, oh, that's right, the vice president of Fox Standards and Practices was running around trying to identify all the victims of Malaysian Flight 370 in order to get them to waive their legal rights to sue whomever is found responsible for. Yeah, that's what they're busy doing, not fact-checking. But that's why Hassan was not charged. That's why, with terrorism, because it's the charge isn't available in the military. All right, Dan in Dillon Beach, California.
Hi, Randy.
Hello.
So I listen to your show, and I kind of listen to the news, and I think, what a weight that must be when you're done at the end of the day. I mean, my blood pressure is just through the roof, just being so angry. But I wanted to kind of reminisce on your show a little bit. One day, it was almost 3 o'clock, and it was the 2010 election, and you're spitting out a spleen trying to get people to go to the polls, and somebody calls in with this weird conspiracy theory, Obama's not doing enough, or he's cutting deals in the back room, and you just kind of like listen to her, let her go on, and then you hung up and you're like, that's it, I'm going home. That was like the last word of the day. And I thought that was so funny. And then I was listening to Stephanie Miller the next day, and she told the same story. She told it better. It was funnier when she said it.
Yeah, she's funny.
Yeah.
And you're not. No, but I mean, no, honest to God, really, people had a million reasons not to vote in 2010 on the Democratic side of things. And I was like,
remember that.
And I was like, okay, you can only do what you can do. And if they don't want to go out and vote, it's a census year. Maps are going to be drawn. Districts are going to be created. You can live with yourself. Then, I'm going home. And that's where I will go on May 16th. I'm going home. You can only do so much to get people to vote for their own best interests.
Randi Rhodes.
Turn up your mind. Here. Now. This is the Randi Rhodes Show.
Eleanor in South San Francisco.
Randy, my queen, I am here. First of all, I want to say thank you. And I'm going to thank you for something you did back in 2010, because I had the pleasure of bringing my husband and my 2 children to Yoshi's to see you in San Francisco.
Oh, I remember that.
And I want you to know, it was his last thing that he did. I had 2 treats for him because his birthday was coming. Unfortunately, we got to see you, but we didn't get to see Eric Clapton because he was diagnosed with a serious illness, and he has since passed away.
Yeah.
However, he always remembered the fact that you hugged him and you kissed him, and he bragged to everybody about it. But I want to thank you for that. And I also want to tell you, I was listening to the podcast yesterday's podcast before your show, and it was hysterical because everybody that called up was freaking out. They didn't hear what you were saying, which is, I'm tired. I'm not doing this anymore.
Exactly.
You beat your head against the wall as long as you could. I have to tell you, I've been watching you on the live broadcast, and I've been saying for weeks, I said, she's tired. She's had it with these people. She's had it with the American people who are not stepping up and taking care of themselves and, thinking about other people in this country. There's a lot of single-minded things going on here. So I understand where you're coming from. I feel your pain, and I want you to know that I totally understand. As much as it's going to kill me, I know I can't go online and I can't do anything to see you or hear you on radio or TV anymore. I'm hoping that you will consider, if someone calls you, to do a talk show like maybe Bill Maher, who I have been relentless in emailing him and trying to get him to put you on, because you would be such a wonderful addition to his panel. But I just want you to know that how much I appreciate you. I know that I'm not alone in this, but I'm hopeful that you get a good rest, and maybe you can take a look at this and think of some way that we can maybe hear you in the future if you write a book or you do some column or something. I don't want you to disappear into the sunset because, Randi, hands down, and I mean this when I say this, hands down, you are the best progressive talk person on TV, on the radio, on the Internet, and I so appreciate the fact that you've given us so much to work with and help people, so many people understand what is really going on in our country, and I really do. I revere you.
Oh,
really
well,
do.
You're right. What do you want me to say to that? I mean, I never know what to say to that. Thank you. I will tell you this, the whole thing was, and anybody that works for me will tell you that if we're going to do it, we're going to do it better than anybody. We're going to do it, fact-based. We're going to check our facts. We're going to cross-check our facts. We're never going to, we're going to get it right, and if we get it wrong, we're going to say we got it wrong. We're going to fix it. I mean, there's no point in doing it if you're not doing it, well, if you're not really, really doing something important.
Exactly.
There is no reason to spend 60 hours of your life doing, a week, doing a job and doing it half-assed.
That's right.
I will never do it. I will never do it like that. And so unless there is an environment in which, the 60 hours are actually worth something I'm not doing it.
Exactly. And, it's that's what's wrong with, I used to watch MSNBC. I'm off it. I only watch snatches of it because it's the same thing rehashed over and over, and they are not necessarily dealing with facts all the time. And I do like the shows, but, it's a lot better than Fox, of course, but I just...
Fox is fake. Listen, there is a difference. Fox is completely and utterly fabricated. It is totally made up. It is totally fake. It's totally paid for. Right. Everybody is operating at the behest of an agenda, not at the behest of facts as you find them or reality as it presents itself. They ignore what's inconvenient. It's a propaganda outfit. It really is. There's just no question about it. And the MSNBC, they try, their facts are good, but they're limited in what they cover.
Absolutely.
And it's and CNN, God knows what they're doing there. What are they doing?
The plane, Randi. That's what
I was going to say, I'll make you a bet. Do you think, here's my question, do you think they'll find the plane before May 16th?
No.
I don't either.
I don't think they're going to find that plane for years if they do.
I mean, me neither. But they won't stop. They're not going to stop. And it's just so, the whole landscape is so freaky.
Horrible.
That I just don't want to be part of the hypocrisy of it all.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. And I've been looking at your face going, oh, my God, she is so tired of this crap.
I am. I am.
These people calling up and they're so, you want to just beat them. I want to take a nurse.
I don't want to beat them. I don't want to beat them. I am onto this new thing, and I swear to God I mean this. I want to ostracize them and shame them.
Well, that you did a good job of that, I got to tell you.
Yeah, that's what I'm into.
Good today because he couldn't say anything. He was
because he didn't know what he was talking about, but none of them do. No, they don't. They really don't because they listen to propaganda all day long. And the reason why the machine is still cranking out the propaganda is because it muddies the water. It defeats the spirit. It makes people feel like there's no way out.
That's right. Hopeless. And I got to tell you, while I'm sitting here talking to you, I am actually online applying for a job in the elections office in San Francisco.
Oh, that's great.
That's what I have to do. I mean, because I see that if I don't do something, then it's everybody.
And let me say this: this is why it's so important. People are going to go, yeah, well, she's in San Francisco. No. That's why it is important because Democrats get very smug. And they just think someone else will do it. I live in San Francisco. It doesn't matter. And then you don't show up. And lo and behold, you end up with Darrell Issa.
Absolutely. And I don't live down there. I mean, I'm thinking, you can't call his office from here. They don't let you call. They'll say, they'll have a way of figuring out where you're calling from.
Yeah.
And they say, you're not in our zip code.
Right. You're not in our district.
Leave a message.
Right. But, I wonder what happens when the Koch brothers call and they're not in the district. They're like in Kansas somewhere. Is there a special, unblock thing that they can press,
God.
I know.
God.
Well, thank you.
Listen, baby doll, I absolutely adore you.
Thanks.
And I hope to see you sometime in the near future. Everybody call Bill Maher. Put her on fun
what
to be
reason?
on our show.
All these years, he's never once extended an invitation. Never.
I've come to the conclusion.
And I got news for you. Our friends at MSNBC have never once asked me either. So I
I don't get it. And I sent them emails too. I'm like, you put these light with the same people on all the time, which is why I stopped watching them. Because they just recycle the same opinion on different shows. You can see the same person on 3 or 4 different shows.
There's more than 3 news stories. There's just more than 3 news stories, you know. I mean, for me, it's like all Fox does is, we hate Muslims, we hate black people, and Benghazi, and Benghazi. CNN is just doing this freaking airplane to the point where it takes your breath away. It really does freak me out. I really do. I mean, I cannot understand what they're doing.
I know.
And then MSNBC, it's like a little news and then Christie, a little news and then Christie.
Yeah, there it is. And on every.
I mean, why can I recognize the New Jersey legislature? I mean, how come I could recognize them? I'm not supposed to know what they look like. They're New Jersey legislators. And now I know, like, I don't even have to have the sound on. Oh, look, there's Loretta Weinberg. Right? How do I know her name?
And we don't want to.
I don't.
I want to know. I'm in San Francisco. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care about this.
I know.
It's a mess.
It's a mess. It is.
Love you, kiddo.
Thank you. Love you more. Thank you so much. Where are we going? Charles in New York.
Randy?
Charles in charge.
How are you, dear?
Mm-hmm.
I love you.
I love you.
And let me tell you something. If the Allen ever mess up, I'm here.
Alan.
Is that his name?
That's my dog.
I always get them confused.
Howard.
Help me.
Howard's my dog, too, though.
How is the dog? How is the dog, okay? Because I don't hear you speak about him.
Alan's fabulous. Alan's the most amazing dog ever. Alan is, Howard's service dog now. He's in service, and he's an amazing animal.
Good. Listen,
Howard too.
Real quick.
And the dog too.
may I commend you for your grande huevos and speaking truth to power. May I also say that you're one of the few on the air that uses critical thinking.
Thank you.
And that guy from Texas, this is the result of all this old news that we get.
Yeah, poor John. I think John's got potential, though. I think if John actually could read a newspaper or get a newspaper or, stop wrapping fish in newspapers and, go to the bathroom with a newspaper, sit there, be one with it. Even Vanity Fair would work for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, read something that doesn't have Max at the end of it, or read something that doesn't, have, like, the Blaze. You know what I mean? Like, that isn't paid for by the Tea Party. Something independent, something, that's actually informative, something that could tell you things like there is no charge of terrorism available in a court-martial, and this is why they charged him with workplace violence, because it was easy to prove. Do you know what I mean? And we wanted a conviction, and we wanted to get rid of him. You know what I mean? I think he has potential. Like Kit DeLuca. I think he got potential. Rhonda in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Oh, my dear sister Randy, I love you so much.
My sister Rhonda, I love you too.
I appreciate you. I'm going to miss you like crazy.
Listen, you know what? You remind me. Let me give the schedule just so people don't wig out, okay? Okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm working through the end of the week. I had planned my vacation. I haven't had a vacation since Christmas. So I planned my vacation, and I'm still taking it because I have to go down to Costa Rica and prepare the house, and the kids are all coming, and this is their break from school, and, we said we're going. So we're going. So I'm going for a week, and Nicole will be sitting in, obviously. I will come back.
Okay.
I will be back, I think May 2nd is that Monday, and then we'll do the last 2 weeks together, okay? And May 16th will be the last day. So this vacation was planned a long time ago, and I'm still taking it because the kids are coming, and one is in, law school, and the other one just got her master's, and she's, they're available, and we're all going.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Well, I have to say how much I appreciate you and your voice, and hopefully that voice will show up in other places. But I did want to call and tell you that I got into it on Facebook with somebody who had the audacity to compare Clive and Bundy to, wait for it, Harriet Tubman.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Harriet Tubman, Randy.
So,
like,
let's see.
Did he really go there on me? Really?
If Harriet Tubman was caught by the authorities in the South, I think she would have been prepared to sacrifice her life for the greater good of those who would stand on her shoulders. And Cliven Bundy is a deadbeat. So, yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same.
Totally the same. I was so offended. I was like, you cannot even be serious. Like, to me, that is such a perfect example of the lack of understanding.
See, well, this is because people they truly don't get the difference between civil disobedience, where you're willing to pay the penalty under the law. If you get, if you get arrested, you will go limp and you will go with the police. If you're put in jail, you will sit in jail and write letters, right, inspiring others, and that your cause is a cause to benefit the greater good. Insurrection, on the other hand, is an act of utter and complete selfishness.
Yeah. I was just like, you can't be serious. And it's like, it also is indicative.
Yeah, they've compared Cliven Bundy to just about Rosa Parks, I heard.
Right.
I heard Gandhi, because, of course, I remember Gandhi's militia of AK-47 wielding, thugs coming in from out of state, Yeah, I remember that.
Well, Randy, my love,
yeah.
I totally get it. When your job gets to a point where it makes it impossible for you to live your purpose, you got to move on. I had to do the same thing last year, so I get it. I'm going to miss you, but
I'll miss you too.
And taking care of yourself, honey.
Well, you're a brave woman, and so am I, and so we have that in common, and we always will.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love you, Rhonda. So, yeah, it's the same. Rosa Parks sat down on a bus for the greater good. She actually paid her bus fare, though. Cliven Bundy, on the other hand, is a deadbeat who steals the resources of the taxpayers and encourages snipers to come and kill federal agents. It's the same. It's identical. The idea of critical thinking in this country is it's shot to crap. You know that. It's gone. It's really gone. Maybe next hour I'll read you this, how facts backfire and what the psychology of it is. It's one of the most amazing. It's kind of like Stockholm syndrome, where you say, but but she was kidnapped by this guy. You're telling me she fell in love with this guy? That's the guy that took away her freedom. Right. Well, that's Stockholm syndrome. Well, this is kind of like that. 48 after.
Randi Rhodes.
I do know one thing for sure. That we do not want a civil war, and we just want a big government calm down here, and we'll work things out. So we're not in the negotiating mood. We're not going to negotiate with big government. We're not going to negotiate with BLM. We're only going to back up and strengthen our county sheriff and hope he does his job. And that's where our Constitution put us.
Yeah, that's exactly what Harriet Tubman said. I'm not going to negotiate with the feds. I'm just going to have people come from Oklahoma with sniper rifles and point them at the federal government. It's the same. It's exactly the same. John in St. Louis.
Yeah, I just wanted to call and say I'm really going to miss you. I know you always say read and stuff like that, but I'm totally blind, so you were my only lifeline to the truth. So I'm just really going to miss you. I've been a long time listener. First time I called, but I'm really going to miss you.
Well, I will miss a lot of you. Not all of you, but a lot of you. I will. There's no question. And, about 3 months out, it's going to start to, get to me. But whatever. It's like I just said to Carol and to others, you've got to be brave. You have to be brave. This, for me, you know what this life is about? Conquering fear. That's what it's about. That's what it's always been about. And if you're not brave enough to go out there and try something else and leave the comfort of, the daily grind behind, and there is some comfort in a routine, you know that. The idea that everything is, where you left it and that things are going to be the same tomorrow as they were today, there's some comfort in that monotony.
Yeah.
Right? But to be brave.
Believe me, I know about change.
Yeah, right. I mean, if I moved your living room furniture around, you'd be freaked out, right? Well, that's what's happening here. I'm moving my living room furniture around.
Yeah. My father told me a long time ago, and I told my kids, if other people that went before us, all the stuff they had to go through to vote, and my voting place is a half a block from my house, so, I have no excuse.
No, you don't. That's true. There is no excuse not to vote. There is no excuse, especially for African Americans, not to vote. There's going to be obstacles for people to vote. There's going to be obstacles. There are already obstacles. There are gerrymandered districts, and there are rules in place that they could be giant brick walls for a guy like you. But it's nothing new, because there is nothing new. Nothing new under the sun. It's all about showing up.